Recording in progress.
Okay. All right. I'm hitting the go live. So it
We'll do it
pretty much
live.
as soon as I hit it, it starts pretty quickly. So I would wait maybe 5 seconds and then
I
just
like the
go,
delay with
Terry.
all the people that just stand there for 30 seconds looking at the screen.
I
before
know.
Are we?
I
We're rolling?
go. I just go now because I know that it's
Yeah.
working. So I would just wait like 5 seconds after I say I'm clicking it now, and then
Okay.
we'll go from there. You're
And
looking pretty, Terry.
I'll start it like we're doing an intro to either like a webinar podcast episode, and we'll just
Yeah.
have some fun.
Okay. All right. You ready? All right. Button is clicked.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy holidays from the UVT coaching team, the best coaching team on the planet. You know why? Because we are, for God's sake.
Yay!
Holidays, we've got the entire team. Jan already wins the award for best costume. Garnet wins the award for best backdrop.
Thank you.
Rob wins the award for the best smelling weed in his studio. And Trish, of course, you win the award for the most calm and collective.
Yeah.
I'm the one that keeps it all together.
Yeah,
Somebody has to.
The rest of us have severe OCD, ADHD issues, and we can't seem to hold our attention span these days. But
I'm surprised we actually got all of us on the screen at the same time. This is
It's a Christmas
amazing.
miracle. It truly is.
Yeah.
it is a Christmas miracle. Garnet is sporting a Cure t-shirt, which was one of my favorite bands in the
That is a
80s.
good t-shirt.
This was an
a
early Christmas
classic.
present to myself. It's actually an album cover from the concert live album from 1984. But
Ooh,
Oh, that's
fun.
awesome.
I couldn't wait until Christmas to wear it. So,
I
That's
saw them in
incredible.
concert. They were fantastic.
oh
It
yeah,
always,
yeah.
it always frightens me a little bit when someone's in a Zoom call and they stand up. You know, I
Who are you on
show
Zoom
off
calls
your-
with?
I thought you were going to show off your, I thought you were going to show off your Cure underoos.
They need to make those again. Bring them back.
Underoos.
I had
So
Wonder
thank you for
Woman.
those of you. And Trish, are you able to peek in VO Camp just to see if the live
Yeah.
feed?
No, it's working. I got it. Yep.
Oh, I should. Yeah, we
Hi,
Yeah.
Voiceover Camp.
Those of you that are watching in VO Camp, if you want to throw a question in the comment thread or just have a cocktail with us, this is just going to be, we're kind of stealing Trisha's Friday happy hour idea here. We're just going to keep it kind of casual,
But it's Wednesday.
throw in a few holiday stories and anecdotes, and just talk a little bit about voiceover and all that kind of good stuff. So
Yeah.
It's
Oh, we've
close-
already
close
got a
enough to
few
Christmas.
We've
It's-
already
sorry.
got. Sorry, Garnet. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's close enough to Christmas that I don't think anybody would object to a little day drinking. So please indulge.
Hey, O'Connell, it's 5 o'clock
s-
somewhere.
I still have
Yeah.
2 jobs to do after this. At
hot
least.
toddy you got going there?
I know. So
I
we
know.
have a bunch of people like, hi, Chaka. Hi, Peter O'Connell is in the house.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Peter O'Connell, I love the Buffalo Bills, but only if you love my Vikings, because if you don't love my Vikings, go to hell.
Amanda Jordan, Matt Akins,
Oh
Shalyn.
yeah, nice.
Shalyn. Hi, Shalyn.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
Who else? Yeah, no, they're oh, and Emily's in the house. Kim Marie.
Oh,
Hi
nice.
guys. Yeah, we got a lot of
Robert
people
thing,
list. We
You
got
guys-
11 people watching right now.
Merry
So
Christmas to all.
If you're give us some love in the chat. There's more and more people that will see it, guys. Those of you that are watching, we would love the more interaction that we have in the chat, the more.
Murray hit
I
it right
think
on the
that-
head. It's
No,
happy first day of
I hope,
solstice. Happy
And I
solstice.
hope you guys don't mind. I tweeted this, and Elon Musk is actually going to join us.
Oh, good. Yeah. He'll be
Sweet.
taking over soon.
Great.
Maybe not taking over is bad choice of words.
Hashtag live if you're listening, even if like I said, the more people that can be active in the chat is it tells Facebook that what we're doing is important and cool. And so
Again,
they
we're
push
basically
it out to more people.
we're
Oh, that's
basically gaslighting Facebook. And believing
So-
that it's really important.
All right. So who's doing what for dinner? What's anybody doing a Christmas dinner this year? Who's doing what?
We are actually, we've been in this new house now in the middle of Christmas Town, is what I call it. We're getting about 9 inches of snow. And Jan, you're new to snow, but you're getting a lot of that now in your new place.
Not a lot. I mean, actually, this weekend we're supposed to get an ice storm. Great.
Oh, yeah, that's always, you know what's my
Yay.
favorite is when we mix all the precipitation together. Rain, sleet, snow, and then you throw in a hurricane and a tornado just for fun.
Yeah. How about an earthquake too on the West Coast? Woo!
But so we're doing we're having Tracy's parents and the family over here to kind of do a little open house ribbon cutting ceremony, I guess.
Cool. Very
For
cool.
the new house. We're all having pot pies with a lot of THC.
Pot pies. Hey.
No, it'll be great. We just gotta get past this blizzard that we're having. Thank God, today and not like Saturday, Sunday. Now, Rob, and this is really important voiceover information for everybody. So please take notes. But Rob is actually a very talented chef, and Jan is a very talented chef. Trish, you and I are kind of like, if we take 3 months to plan a meal, we might be able to get away with it.
I made a cheesecake. I actually made a cheesecake for Thanksgiving that was actually phenomenal. It came out unbelievably good. I made a maple pecan cheesecake and it was freaking delicious.
That's cool.
I did
That
the water
sounds
bath and everything. It actually came out really good.
That's cool.
I did it in a cast iron though, because I realized that I didn't have any like baking pans.
Spring forms
anything.
and things. Yeah.
I have the spring
great.
form. I do have the spring form, but I didn't have a baking. They said basically I didn't, of course, read the actual like recipe, like I read the ingredients, so I knew what to buy, but I didn't actually read the instructions until I was like ready to make it. And I'm
here's the really important tool that you don't have that you're going to need to finish this.
So it says it's a shallow baking pan, and I'm like, okay, well I have a cookie sheet. Except that's not big enough for the water bath. So I wound up my boyfriend was over and he's like, why don't you just use your cast iron? And I'm like, it's not a bad idea. Brilliant. So I took my big Lodge cast iron and thankfully it had like this much room on the sides, like the spring form fit inside the cast iron. And it actually turned out really good. So
you MacGyvered it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I totally did.
I've got a quick message for some of you that might be watching this live on Facebook. How many of you still think this is a camping group?
It's not?
Every day I get people posting tents and air mattresses because they think Voiceover Camp is an actual camping group. And this, we talk about this all the time. Does anybody listen anymore? Does anybody read anymore?
No.
Well, everybody's talking about s'mores in there. So, what else are we going to think?
That's true. Yeah.
We're happy to have you, but this is, this is group 4 of voice actors. By the way, I had a little bit of this going in the background.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Little Louis Armstrong.
Very nice. Very nice.
Love the classics. Love the classics.
So did we have an agenda of what to talk about today, or are we just here?
For those of you a little younger, there's actually other artists who do Christmas
songs
other than Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Well, I actually tossed a question to Terry that I thought might be good for the group. We all grew up watching Christmas specials. Like our generation was pretty much the first generation that got to see animated Christmas specials. And I'm sure that every voice actor has their favorite voice cast from their favorite Christmas special. So whether it's a golden oldie like Rudolph or Frosty or Charlie Brown, or more recent ones, just thought maybe if you have a favorite vocal performance from one of those Christmas specials, you could share with the group.
It's hard to beat Boris Karloff narrating The Grinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
I mean, if you're gonna go for voice actors, it's hard to beat Boris Karloff. I mean, my favorite like Christmas show is Charlie Brown Christmas, just because of the music. Vince Guaraldi, I love that music. But I mean, for acting performance, Boris Karloff all the way.
I
Paul
this might
Frees,
be-
man. Paul
yeah.
Frees for me was a big influence, not only in those early animated cartoons or claymation or whatever the hell you call them, but
Yep.
also at the Disney parks.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
his
Paul
voice
Frees
is
is the
all
best.
over the place.
Yeah.
Who didn't want to be the voice of the Haunted Mansion? I mean, it's just like I remember going in there for the first time. I think I was 6 years old when our family took us to Disneyland in California. And that was the one thing in that huge park. You think I'd be all mesmerized and entertained by all the rides. It was the voice I hear when you
Yeah.
the mansion that absolutely, blew me away. But the reason I like Burl Ives, the snowman from Rudolph was Reindeer, because how many narrators can all of a sudden just do a beautiful job narrating and then start singing?
Yeah.
It's such a stellar voice, and oh my God, that has also stuck with me for
Burl Ives. Yeah.
the rest of my life. It's not often you find a lot of narrators with a singing voice like that.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you hired Burl Ives for that reason, I'm sure. I mean, that's why you got the gig.
And then Rob, I think you and Burl Ives used to be roommates back in college.
Yeah, I'm not
So-
that old.
I want to give a few shout outs. We have a bunch of people. We have 15 people in
Yeah,
the
we're gonna keep
in
this going all
watching.
day long. Right, John?
So I'm gonna if those of you that are Gen X like Romper Room, do you remember Romper Room by any
Yes.
chance?
Yeah.
So
Some of us
I-
boomers remember Romper Room too.
okay. Well, it's
We love the
the younger boomers would, yes.
When you give,
Ravenscroft.
a piece of voiceover advice in a voiceover group and you actually make sense, you might be labeled a boomer.
No, so the reason I'm bringing that up is because whenever I do these shout outs and like say a bunch of names all at once, I always think about when
Romper,
she
bumper,
was like, I
stomper,
look.
boo.
Oh, maybe that's what. Well, I remember her just saying all the names. I see I
Bobby
see
and
Michelle and
yeah.
Sandy and yeah.
Yeah,
And
through the
except
the
they never
glass,
said my
right?
name. But anyway, so I'm looking at I'm just looking at the chat here. So shout out to Rob Griffin, Dominic Ferrara, Juan,
Tremendous. Welcome, everybody.
Monique.
and I haven't Diana McCleary,
Ask
Tamara.
Diana, how is
Diana.
Diana has COVID? How are you feeling, Diana?
Like,
Oh
you
yeah,
don't hear her,
Monique's
all, like,
there.
waiting
Hi,
for a
Monique.
response.
Yeah,
What?
it's got to be in the chat. So, but
She got bit with the COVID bug, I think.
Oh, that
Diana.
sucks.
aw.
That sucks.
I haven't
Yeah.
gotten it.
Hi. So, but yeah. So if you guys that are watching have any questions for us, we would be happy to be interactive. I'm sure that we can come up with topics to talk about if you guys want to throw something into the chat. Hi, Jim Ashbrook.
And at the very end of this, who wants to come over and help me shovel?
You're all on your own.
You
with
know,
that.
gotta go.
Yeah,
Bye.
look at the time.
It's one of those things where every time I peek at the weather app, the accumulation gets a bit larger. So now they're saying 9 to 15 inches of snow.
We're just going to get crazy cold temperatures here in Austin. It's supposed
That's
to
right.
be like
About
16 degrees here.
About 50 or 60 degrees.
People lose their minds below 50, but it's supposed to be like 15 or 16
Ooh.
degrees. So that's a little cold. I'm going to
Damn.
be up to my neck in my hot tub.
As long as the power stays on.
Oh yeah, if I lose power, I'm screwed.
And
God.
Diana says she's feeling much better and she's moving back upstairs tomorrow morning. I'm not sure maybe somebody knows what that
I think
means, but I'm glad.
Probably separated herself from the rest of the family.
Ah,
Oh,
yes. Okay.
Well, that's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, that's
I'm glad
great.
you're doing better.
Hard to
We have
live
a
in,
couple of questions from the groups there.
Yeah, hit those questions.
Matt, I
Yeah.
got one here. Matt Eakin wants to know how close to Christmas do you guys shut up shop for the year? That's a
I thought you were going to say, how close to Christmas do we shut up? I was like, wow.
We try to close up shop, and then some of us always forget to actually block certain dates off, like, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. And when we leave it open, somebody will request us for a coaching session.
I really tried to take the time off between Christmas and New Year's this year, but I'm still doing a couple of sessions for students next week. But for the most part, I'm trying to be shut down unless a client says, "Rob, we need you to voice this right away." No, I'm shut down till the new year.
I'm kind of the same as Rob. I'd like to take more time off, but I've got a couple of sessions booked. I'm actually being the only Canadian coach. I'm used to working on holidays. Holidays for you guys, but not
Yes.
necessarily holidays for me, or vice versa. Sometimes I work on Canadian holidays just because we have students that want to work on, like, say, real Thanksgiving, which is Canadian Thanksgiving.
Real
Um,
Thanksgiving.
we have students that want to work on that because they're not celebrating it. So I don't mind taking a session on that day as long as it doesn't interfere with my turkey. So yeah, we definitely, everybody should take some time off to just enjoy being with friends and family and you know, recharge. But I think we're all guilty at times of working, even though we plan not to, just because, you know, it's actually kind of fun sometimes when maybe you have too much family and you
got work to do.
You need an hour. I got to go to the studio. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's a good excuse to get away from those crazy second cousins. You know, hey, I've got a 6-hour session. So Merry Christmas, you guys. We'll see you next year. By the way, speaking of Christmas, we were talking about Christmas movies, which Trish, I mean, you brought up Romper Room, but I'm not sure you ever answered Garnett's question about
Christmas movies. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite, Trish?
Or a voice actor from an old Christmas classic.
Christmas movie? Probably A Christmas Story. I could just watch it over and over and over again. And it's just so funny every time. It's just so well done.
Have you seen the remake?
Yeah, how's the new one? I don't think it's a
No.
remake. I think it's a sequel, correct?
It's a sequel. Yeah, it's the same actors. It's everybody's back doing the same
That's still
thing.
alive.
Except
That are
for
still
the dad.
alive.
Yeah, the dad's not there anymore. But has anybody seen what is it? It's A Christmas Story Christmas. Is that what it's
Yeah, I
called?
think that's what it is or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm
Arnett, have you seen it?
I have not. I plan to, but I have not seen it yet.
I
Yeah,
got to find something to watch Christmas Day. You know, some Christmassy type movie that I want to watch Christmas Day. That might be it.
I will say that in Elf, I really enjoy Bob Newhart's narration.
Yeah, Bob
Uh,
Newhart was great.
Yeah, that was just I could. He's like got one of those smooth, kind of authentic deliveries where you could just listen to. Like,
Well, that's the thing about Bob. He always had that like classic kind of like nervous, anxiety filled way of talking, which works so great opposite Will Ferrell in that. I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, but boy, did he just own that part in Elf. But yeah, Bob Newhart was awesome in that.
Getting back to A Christmas Story, that movie's narrated by the author of the book,
Gene Shepard.
Gene Shepard. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
I didn't know he wrote it.
yeah. He wrote it, and he's also in it. He's the guy in the department store when they're waiting for Santa. He's the guy who says, "Hey kid, what do you think you're doing?" And you know the kids are getting in line.
Yeah,
the
the
line
jester
ends here.
was-
It starts back there. That's him.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Oh.
cool.
Rob, you've got
This-
this kind of crazy backdrop. Like every time I like look at your Zoom, it's like I think you're at Paisley Park in Minneapolis, and then I'll look at it again, and it looks like you're in a meat locker. So I'm like,
You know-
my brain is trying to adjust.
Without it, it's just boring. It's just boring and gray. So I
I'm back on.
yeah. So I
So
had
Terry,
the lights.
you mentioned Burl Ives was your favorite from Rudolph.
Yeah.
My favorite is Rudolph, like the whole cast, but it's because they wanted to save money when they produced that, and Burl Ives was like the marquee. He was like the biggest name voice actor in the show. The rest of the voice cast, to save money, they actually went to Canada. They came to Toronto and got all the voice actors that were like working in and around Toronto. So Rudolph is a lady by the name of Billy Mae Richards, and Paul Kliegman played Rudolph's dad. And what I love about this is so many of the actors from Rudolph also voiced other stuff around that time. Again, companies trying to save money. So the 1967 Spider-Man cartoons were the same voice cast as Rudolph. And you
Oh,
can
wow.
hear Rudolph's dad is J. Jonah Jameson, like Parker, Rudolph. Like it's the
That's
exact
funny.
same. So every time I hear it, I'm just like mixing. Rocket Robin Hood was another cartoon that same collection of actors voice. So you hear like just similar deliveries, and it's very difficult to mix up the characters with the animations because they just, you know, they were just growing up here as well. You'd see a lot of those cartoons in reruns, so they just became like ingrained in your head. So I like that as
I
well.
want to know who played the jackass, the coach, who was so nasty to Rudolph. You know, the guy that was just kind of like, "Oh no, Rudolph, you better go home and play with your folks." That guy. How was he
We're
allowed?
not going to let Rudolph play in any more reindeer games, right? Right.
Santa even allow him to fly with the rest of the cool reindeer after being the biggest asshole on the planet minutes during the show? Oh no, not you, Rudolph. You better go home and play with your folks. Like, what a jerk.
Yeah.
But I love the voice.
Chaka mentioned he likes the voices the most from the if we're picking Christmas movies that have voices in it, is
Frosty,
the Frosty, yeah.
The animated
And-
one, the Frosty and the Snowman.
Jackie Vernon.
Yeah. Hi,
Oh,
William.
Is that the Jimmy Durante? Is that the
Yeah.
He's the narrator. Yeah, Frosty's Jackie Vernon,
love that.
and the little girl Karen is June Foray.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
really? I met her in 2000, whatever. She was at one of the voice conferences. Was it 2008?
That's amazing.
I think
She
she
was
was
like
at one of
90
them.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She passed away just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like 200 years old or something.
She was amazing.
We were sitting in the lobby with John Taylor, our old friend John Taylor, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know who he is. And then June Foray was right there because John had brought June Foray right over. And Trish, you and I actually met her. And that was just, I mean, talk about just being, Clint Eastwood or Harrison Ford or whoever.
It's VO royalty.
I'm not going to be starstruck.
Yeah.
I'll just shake their hand. Hey, let's have a cup of coffee. But June Foray.
She had like this beautiful kimono on or something. It was like this silk robe that was just gorgeous. And I'm like, and she's this little old lady at the top. Oh my gosh, she was so cute. And
If we have any students who maybe don't know who June was,
she's like the
she's
granny
like
in Sylvester in
she played the granny
Sylvester
in
and
Witch
Tweety.
Hazel in Warner Brothers cartoons. She was
She
Rocky
was
in Rocky and
Natasha.
Bullwinkle.
No, she was Natasha and Boris and Natasha. You know,
The first lady of voice acting, basically.
Yeah.
As some people say, she was the female Mel Blanc, although Mel said that he was the male June Foray. So
yeah, there you go.
What a compliment that was. Trish, this was back when we were doing our voiceovers on demand podcast. You remember that?
Yes, of course I remember. It made us legends now.
In your own minds.
Of course, most of the guests from that show have now blocked us on social media.
It blocked you.
We had all the greatest hits. David Cicerelli and
Oh God. Well, you had to bring his name up.
We're still friends with several people.
I mean, granted, this was back in 2006, 2007, where
Yeah.
it's probably
Where they weren't so evil.
I do miss the voiceover conferences when there was one big conference a year and you had kind of like a combination of new talents and professionals getting together. There was something that was kind of magic about it, but now there's one in every zip code every 5 minutes. And it just appears to be kind of a watered down art. Does anybody want to fight me on that?
Nope.
I'm not gonna fight you. But
I think you can still learn a lot. I think it's a great
Well-
way, especially if you're new, it's a great way to learn a lot of information quickly and to get face to face with some big names in coaching and in the industry, to learn, the tools of the trade and to learn how it all works in a very fast way.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to get training. But once you've gone a few years, you start seeing like, oh, okay, the classes and the workshops are all the same, and now it's just sort of like a reunion. You're just going back to high and
for
stuff.
social reasons. Yeah.
It's the same speakers now for like 10 plus years, which is
Yeah.
I get it. There's a turnover rate there, and there's new people coming into it every meeting. How would you guys feel about a voiceover camp conference?
An actual voice
At your house. At Terry's house. At
It's a
Terry's house.
retreat.
Yes.
A VO retreat.
Starting tonight, bring your sleeping bags and lots of booze.
At the Blizzard. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't afford to go to Switzerland, so we're going to Minneapolis.
Now we have, there's always an asterisk there because somebody ripped off our voiceover camp name on social media. Because now, people might think that, I know voiceover camp. We're the original voiceover camp. All right. I started this group back in like 2008 before it really kind of merged into a UVT coaching thing. And then, I think it was a couple of years ago, Trish, where somebody also appeared to start a group.
There's
call.
like 50. I haven't even checked, but the last I checked, when you first told me about it, there was like 50 members or something. And so it's like, yeah, we're the OG,
Whatever.
so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, whatever.
Threatened to sue everybody.
I'm sorry. Is that a reel-to-reel machine behind you, Terry?
It's you know what? It's a classic reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Tape recorder.
This is one of the very first tape recorders. So it wasn't like the big reel-to-reels that you see at like radio stations, but the tape recorder.
It was a portable tape recorder.
Yep.
Interesting.
That's portable.
No,
I'm not judging, by the way. I happen to, have
Oh, look at that.
some old stuff in my studio as well, but I just thought that was really kind of cool looking.
I still have my boom box from the 4th grade.
Wow.
4th grade. Wow.
I recently reacquired mine. I had one through my teenage years that went to my job with me every day, and camping with friends, and was in my locker at school in between periods, and it was lost in the midst of time. And then on Facebook Marketplace, I saw somebody selling the exact model I had, so I went and bought it for $40. And my wife's making fun of me because we got Spotify and all these streaming services, and I'm sitting in my office like listening to old cassettes that I still had, where the sound quality isn't that great, but
Cool.
I have a
just for
huge
the
box
process of
of
listening to them.
Darn it, which
So good for you.
is that, the Panasonic or the Sanyo or the
Mine's the Sanyo.
nice?
I had a Sears special for a long time.
Radio Shack for me.
Like
Rob,
stuff-
you sound so deflated when you said that.
Oh yeah, Sears. It had the high quality. Like at one point, you couldn't turn the dial anymore because the actual thread that they use on the dial came off.
Broke.
So I couldn't tune the channel anymore because it was just wherever it landed. Yeah, good stuff.
When I was a kid, we had the old record player where when the turntable started to turn, a light would come on and hit the mirror ball inside the record player, so you could have your own disco dance.
That's
You know what?
cool.
I just saw the other day, and I saved it because I'm on the fence on whether or not to get it. A unit just like you described. I'd never seen one before. It's a turntable with an 8-track and a cassette deck,
Yes.
all built in, and an AM FM. But underneath, there's like this mirrored cabinet with a disco ball inside, and the lights all like flash.
That sounds kind of awesome.
I had never
Yeah.
seen that before, and I'm contemplating getting it and making it
Oh,
a
there it
project.
is.
Oh, there you go.
There.
Oh my God, that's tremendous.
I can already see her walking around with that thing hoisted on her shoulder,
Yeah, when
bouncing to the tunes.
You and your crew like throwing cardboard down at the subway terminal and like challenging people to dance off.
Classic say anything.
Trish was like so into
Midwest,
Beat Street and Electric Boogaloo and stuff
Oh,
like that. You just know it.
Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, is that
Yeah.
Trish, is that a Def Leppard cassette that you have in there?
Probably, actually.
I'm a huge Def Leppard fan, and
No, it's not. Why on earth? Oh my God, you guys aren't going to have any idea. This is so unlike me. I don't even know. I don't even remember owning this.
Debbie gets
George Michael.
a classic.
Nice.
I can't find that on vinyl for less than like $100 on Amazon.
It hasn't been played since 1987.
That is
No,
a George Michael record.
I've
That's-
definitely used it recently because so when I moved, it was one of the last things. Basically, it was like I moved my whole studio and everything was like moved, which would normally play music. But when you're cleaning and stuff, like after the movers have come and you're cleaning up the old place to, floor sweep it, I kept this behind so that I could at least have music in the place. But I don't know where the George Michael cassette would be in there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Hi. Oh, who said hi earlier? Somebody popped in. Ellie. Hi, Ellie.
William
Ellie's-
Savage has joined us.
Very nice. If anybody's got like a voiceover related question, we go ahead and pop it in the comment thread there. And it doesn't even really, this is a holiday party, right? So it doesn't even really have to be voiceover related. You can talk about if you've got a kind of a fun, quirky Christmas anecdote you'd like to share. Well, you could certainly share that in the thread. Now, who in this Zoom cast right now had moon boots when they were a kid?
Oh,
Anybody?
the rain boots. I loved them. I freaking loved them. They were so cushy and soft, and you could stomp around in them and jump in puddles. It was awesome.
this is the kind of weather today where I miss my moon boots. And Jan, you kind of, well, were you in California most of your life, or just?
Oh yeah.
You were, right? You kind of grew up in the San Francisco area, right?
Yeah, totally. Moon boots, is that a Michael Jackson thing? I don't even know
They
what
were
that is.
snow boots.
They were
I
snow
think.
boots.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really big,
Retro,
soft.
they kind of looked like, I mean, they looked like something out of a video game, really
Yeah.
red.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we just had rubber boots that we'd slop around out in the vineyards and stuff with, but no snow in the Bay Area for us, or at least once in a blue moon up on the higher elevations.
And you're in where are you in Oregon again? You're in
Salem, the capital. Yeah.
Do you miss wine country, or are you guys pretty happy with where you're at?
I don't miss it at all. There's still wine country up here too. Just around the outskirts of town, but I mean, where it used to be vineyards everywhere, now it's things like there's so much more farm production and, Christmas tree farms and vineyards and stuff like that. I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, Garnet and I got pretty close to him at one point, because I was in Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
The borders were still closed, so we couldn't meet.
We couldn't yet. Next time we'll definitely have to make that happen, because I finally got that felony off my record. No.
Good for you.
No, but that'll be a lot of fun to actually. I mean, could you imagine if we all got together in person? And this leads me to WovoCon, which, by the way, is coming. I don't think they've announced the date yet.
Yeah, when?
I think maybe in May. Would you guys be open? Because I know the person picking the speakers, and we'll be able to do whatever we want.
I'm in. I want to go to WovoCon. It's supposed to be in Orlando,
how about a
right?
UVT panel or something, or a UVT presentation? Who wants to go? It's going to be in Miami, I think.
Well, I've heard that
Mm-hmm.
UVT is paying the airfare and hotel rooms for everybody on the coaching staff. So yeah,
I heard the exact same thing, Jan.
What do you mean, the coaching staff? Anybody who attends.
Oh,
Another question. Sorry, we just missed from Matt Nelson. What will make 2023 the best year yet for voice artists, experts, and beginners?
Well, I'll tell you what, the trends are in advertising. Advertising budgets are going through the roof in first quarter of 2023. There's a bunch of articles, Ad Week and Ad Age, I think, is the other publication, where the trends are pointing to a very optimistic year for advertising agencies. Now, that could also mean photographers and anybody in the creative business, but that is really good news for voice actors, because they're going to have a lot of money to spend on all kinds of different commercials, which bodes well for us as voice actors. So I'm optimistic it's going to be a really, really good year. We're kind of, the economy is getting better and better, and we'll see what happens. But these trends are pretty, they're pretty reliable based on the data and the polls and all that stuff. So
I think e-learning is still going to be a big thing too. E-learning was huge before the pandemic. It exploded during the pandemic. I think it's still going to be really popular. I think, businesses realize that there's better ways to train people than instead of getting them all into a room and having to talk to them. So I think e-learning is still going to be big. I think commercial is always going to be, a profitable area. And you're right. Businesses are trying to come back from being shut down, and more advertising is happening. So I think I think there's some good scenes.
That affects explainer videos as well, because so many businesses that are trying to grow and rebuild and reimage, reposition themselves, they're revamping everything, including like internal, not like external advertising, but just like stuff like explainer videos and other marketing tools. So more opportunities there too.
My local agent just had her best year in like 6 years.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Cool.
good.
So that's pretty good for, a small to kind of medium market agency. It's not like obviously one of the castles in LA or New York, but I mean, that's like pretty much the number one non-union agency in the upper Midwest. Nuts Talent Agency. I love that name. Plus, stands for non-union talent.
I had a feeling, because I always see it capitalized, so I had a feeling it was an acronym, but
Really
that's cool.
great. Laura Johnson, who, Rob, you and I have had on.
Yeah.
is as part of these workshops, and she's just brilliant. I mean, she is just so good and just a real pleasure to work with. So long story short, Matt, we're pretty optimistic it's going to be a really good year in VO.
Yeah. I think that things are, also that's great to hear, because that kind of backs up my theory that, or we're kind of seeing a trend to a point of taking, obviously the things that I teach, my direct marketing stuff, and,
Game
you
changer.
know, thank you.
She's a marketing mastermind. She despises, she complained to me for 2 weeks when I started calling her guru, and to it and wouldn't shut up about it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start calling you a marketing mastermind.
But I love direct marketing, and I've always made pay to plays and agents are a part of well, actually, no, I haven't used a pay to play in a very long time, but I'm not against them. And because as a beginner, I do, just like conferences, I do think that they're important to at least get, you kind of have like a steady stream of at least auditions or scripts coming in to like have practice with once you've had the training. But what I'm seeing in the trend is like, I think that the good clients are starting to get fed up with the pay to plays, because there's so many amateur talent that aren't trained, that don't have good equipment. Their audio is not good. And it's starting to take longer and longer to get, good to find good talent on them. So if you post a job now on the social, on let's say Voice123, you're going to get 50, let's say you get 50 auditions back, and only 5 of them are really viable options. But you have to go through all 50 to find those 5.
And sift through all that crap to find 1 or 2 that are really worth it.
So I've had clients now that are telling me that they're going back to the old way of having an in-house stable of talent, a list of people, voice actors that they know what they're doing, they know the audio, they know what to expect from them and what they can expect from them. And they're just starting to kind of go back to that and start to cast things on their own instead of going.
I want to piggyback on that point briefly here. There are also clients who have tried this AI technology for their projects. I've gotten over a dozen new clients this year from clients who tried AI, didn't like it, horrible customer service. They weren't able to make adjustments to the recordings, and they're 12 clients that I otherwise wouldn't maybe have found, or they wouldn't have found me. So yes, I'm a supporter of AI. You got to look at it that way instead of, following all the hyperbole and forums or people, pushing the panic attack, which some voice talents just, love to be alarmists. Remember, everybody thought the voiceover industry was, going to hell in a handbasket when Fiverr came out. Well, then guess what we discovered? Some really talented people on Fiverr, but, what percentage of those members have a lot of talent and have really good gear and have been coached well? Not a very high percentage.
Not a lot, no.
Yeah. Yep. Emily, how are the big clients getting on the P2P sites? Isn't that another red flag? This came up recently because she and I talked about this. So there was an Audi commercial posted that was going to be a national, I think it was national, and it was like multiple spots and lifts and whatever they call it, lifts and
multiple cuts and lifts.
Cuts and so it's I don't, I mean,
this was on very a pay to play.
It was.
What the budget was?
It was like, it wasn't enough. It was
obviously.
I don't remember how much she messaged me about it. It was like, it turned out to be like $1,500 or something. And it was like for like 3 national commercials. And I'm like,
my God.
What? I can't, or maybe it was 15. Maybe they were no, you know what? Maybe it was 15, or she was trying to quote on it.
Was that an improv thing and everything.
Like they were asking for it, and I'm like, really? Like they're national Audi commercials. Like it wasn't like a car dealership. It was
Yeah.
like a national car commercial.
Wow.
You know. It was
Doesn't
10.
happen.
Oh, it was 10 grand. Sorry. It was 10 grand, but still for 3 national commercials, $10,000 is still
That's
on the
low.
lower end.
It's still low.
You should be making like with
It
especially
is when you consider the cut downs and lifts and you know, God knows, was it just going to be TV, radio?
Yeah,
web,
they wanted in perpetuity, I think
course
she
they
said.
did.
For it was like,
course they did.
what? Like really? You know, like it's just
well, they're
so
gonna pop on there. Clients like that are going to pop on there from time to time. That's been going on for years and years. Suddenly you'll see
yeah.
a national Chevrolet client or a Target or Budweiser. It's like, wait a minute, what the hell are they doing on voices.com? As a matter of fact, why the hell is anybody on voices.com?
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have any other questions? Any other questions popping up in the comment thread? Thank you for
I don't, that was the last one that I saw.
Kim Marie asks, asking Terry the Affirm payment method. How does that work?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So our Stripe payment invoicing service now has the Affirm option. It's a buy now, pay later program. Some of you might be familiar with this on Amazon. I've used it on Amazon a couple times for some relatively large purchases, and it works like a charm. It just gives you the option to spread out the payment, so then you wouldn't have to pay like the whole tuition up front. They don't do any hard credit inquiries. They do a soft pull just to take a peek at your score. I think you do have to have a score of 640 or better. And obviously the better your score, just like anything else, the better your score, the lower the interest. And some people will even qualify if they break it up into 3 payments, they won't pay any interest. So it's really a neat program, very safe and secure. There's a number of those out there. It's one of those buy now, pay later programs, but our invoicing service has finally partnered with a firm. So now we have that option on our invoices, which is nice. The best way always is to pay upfront to avoid any interest whatsoever. So that's
Gold bricks are always the best way to pay up front. Gold bricks. Yeah. I take gold bullion, no problem.
That's always the best way if you can do it. But now, if you can't, you have the option with a firm to kind of spread that tuition into multiple payments. So it's a great program.
Yeah.
Now I feel like we've launched into
And
an infomercial.
well, I mean, the people, I mean, the Big Kahuna is, a great option for, like, the Affirm is a great option for the Big Kahuna. If that's, if you're looking to really get the most out of what we offer, the Big Kahuna is it, I mean, it's
Absolutely.
everything you need to get started. So
Great bang for the buck. Great bang for the
absolutely.
you
buck.
get to work with all of us. I mean, seriously, how much better does it get?
It's Christmas. Treat yourself.
You're not working coaches, that where their last commercial they booked was in 1991. It's just like constantly.
Yeah.
So it was every week, and we're genuine with our students. We'll tell you about our successes. We'll tell you about our failures, because everybody on this call has had great years, and everybody on this call has had bad years.
I had a doozy this year. I can talk about this, right? Okay, I won't mention the brand.
But makes you a great coach.
I landed a national job with an agency that I have in London, and it was for a major hardware, electronics kind of place, and it was a big gig, national gig. And the very next day, they replied back. The agency replied back, and they said, they decided to go with their original voice. I'm really sorry. I thought this deal was done, but they're going with the other guy, and so they just paid the usage fee, not the studio fee, not the usage fee. And it was like from like high-fiving to gut punch in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It was like, there's nothing I can do,
Yep.
It's like, it's not me, it's them. So
And it makes a big difference to lose a client like that. I mean, think about advertising agencies. If they lose some ad agencies around the country, if they lose that one major client, like let's say Target or Walmart or a client like that, Pepsi or Coca-Cola, they lose one account. Some of them go out of business.
Yeah.
It can happen.
I was down to the one of 2 voices for Lord and Taylor, and
Shit, they should have
I
picked.
was the other one. Yeah.
Oh,
I
They're
was like,
lost.
we've all been there.
really?
We've all been
Just-
there.
their boss.
That would have been a cool gig, but because they do stuff constantly, like you just hear ads all the time. J.C. Penney, Macy's,
Right.
all of those, all the women that are doing those are
And those of you that are
doing
listening
okay.
to this podcast on Voiceover Sermons, or if you're watching the live feed of what we're doing right now on Voiceover Camp, or the replay of the video, remember, this is a business where it doesn't take 100 clients to make, to make a good living. If you have, a good half dozen clients who are coming back to you on a regular basis and paying, industry standard rates, the rates that you fully deserve, that's what you need. I mean, I see these Fiverr talents out there, God bless them, I guess, oh, I've got 100 clients, but yeah, you're working like 75 hours a week for shit rates. You don't sleep, you don't eat, you don't have time to go to the bathroom because you're constantly in front of your microphone just so you can, a couple utility bills at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody, because there are people that have success on Fiverr. I'm not poo-pooing the whole platform or talents that are on there, but what are the chances of really making a good living just by being on Fiverr? I think those chances are pretty slim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have heard, so watch out when somebody's saying, I'm making $15,000 a month from Fiverr doing voiceover. There are some people that are making maybe $5 or $6 grand a month doing voiceovers on Fiverr. But everything else is, all that extra income is actually coming from selling courses on how to get voiceover work on Fiverr.
Yeah.
So watch out,
They're not gonna put that part in the Facebook ad.
No.
It's such a scam. I'm so sick of all the talk. And like, yeah, you make one negative comment about Fiverr, and immediately you'll get jumped on by guys that are like, there are certain coaches out there that just swear by Fiverr. And they're big just fanatics about it. And I just think there are better ways. And I don't want to have to work on a website where I have to disguise who I am to get any work on it. And that's, it's like, if you have to change your name because you don't want to be seen on Fiverr, that's a problem. And there are some people that make money. I would just make money. I would rather make money with one job than with 12, and make the same amount.
Well, this is why Trish's direct marketing session has been a game changer for a lot of students who have actually booked fairly quickly right after her course, because Trish, this is how you built up your business. You didn't build up your business by getting agency work or being, an active member of a pay-to-play site. You went after these buyers.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, I did a little bit of everything early on. So like I said, I was one of the first 200 voices on Voice 123. Like when they first came online, I was right on there. And and I only know that because I went to a conference, not a voiceover conference. I can't remember what it was. But it was at the Jacob Javits Center many, many years ago. And I went to it and I'm walking around and I see a table, like they had like a vendor table for Voice 123. And I came up to them because I was already listed on there, and I came up and I was like, oh, hi, I'm actually listed on your site and blah, blah, blah. And the girl behind the table, she was like, oh, really? Who are you? And I was like, I'm Trish Bassani. And she's like, oh, I know you. You're getting a lot of work on the site. And I'm like, I am. So, she's like, yeah, because I was like, well, how many other people are there? And she's like, oh, we have about 200 listed right now. So it was early, and so I'm not saying that they're not helpful, but just don't spend your days auditioning for them and not doing the direct marketing. The direct marketing will work in the long run, but it does take time to build up. And I tell everybody this, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You have to put the work in early on. But at some point when you feel like you're, I've been talking a lot about the employee mentality that a lot of people that come into this business sometimes have because they've never worked for themselves. And I was one of those people. I had never had my own business. I worked in corporate America for 10 years. So I was used to giving my time and getting money back. And it was an even exchange. But with VO at the very beginning, or any freelance, any business really that you're trying to build, you feel you're putting all the work in and you feel like you're not getting back. So that's when a lot of people quit, when they don't see a return right away, because they're in the mentality of, I'm not receiving anything back right now. So when you stick with it, all of a sudden the scales tip back and it will start to make more sense. But you have to put the work in at the beginning in order it's a long game, it's just a long game.
And it's easy for people to sometimes, and we've all been there, where we've lost a job and it's tough. And, you run into the voiceover business, and some people think that it's a quick fix for being unemployed, and it's really not. And
there are better ways to make money.
I blame a lot of the old school voiceover books where they have $100 bills floating in front of the microphone, and those book titles are
Six-figure income,
all about the money and hardly about the craft, right?
Yeah.
Somebody glances at that cover and they're just going to assume that, oh wow, I can make like thousands and thousands of dollars, in like 2 weeks. I mean, you've got to really be in for this is going to be a grind. You got to be in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys, I gotta go. I've got work to do, so I'm gonna have to bounce. Happy holidays, everybody. It's great seeing you all. All right, take care, you guys.
Are you assuming that we don't have work to do?
Yes.
Jan, thank you. Happy holidays.
So I have 2 jobs after this, but they're in overseas, so they're already even gone for the day. I do have a couple of questions if you guys want to stick around for a couple extra minutes. Are you guys good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Here,
So
glass of that, Garnett. Will you fill me up?
I'm a little low on vodka. I'm sorry.
Hold it up, Garnett. What is it now?
Brandon Keener says, I'm not personally utilizing the P2P sites right now, like Voices or Voice123. I have the free profile, but haven't used it. I've been at this for a year now, including my coaching program. If the P2Ps aren't where newbies get started and Fiverr and Upwork aren't looked at in favor, he's gone to CCC,
Casting Call
Call Club. Okay.
Yeah.
And ACX. So if Fiverr, he's basically saying if Fiverr and Upwork, if we're not supposed to do Fiverr and Upwork, how are we supposed to find jobs?
Well,
we talk about pricing. I know you have to direct market, Brandon. It's reach out to the clients directly. The pay to plays are just a middleman between you and the clients. Just find your own clients. The clients aren't this mysterious entity where they're not like you have to go through a priest to get to God. They're not, they're regular people. The pay to plays are just a middleman. Find the ad agencies and the production companies. As long as you said you had coaching done, Brandon, so as long as you have a website and professionally produced demos, which is the way that you're going to find clients direct without needing the pay to plays.
Here's the best kept secret in the voiceover business. Corporations in your area, you drive by them maybe every day. You're like, oh yeah, there's that building, there's that building, there's that building. Guess what? They have in-house media departments where they have production directors producing projects that need voiceovers every day. That's how I got in with 3M. That's how I got in with General Mills. That's how I got in with Boston Scientific and Medtronic, huge corporations that are known all over the world. It took me many, many phone calls and a few different emails on occasion, but these are all direct clients, and they're still regular clients that I've had for over 10 years.
Yeah. And also, so I hope that helps, Brandon. And then Kimmery has an interesting question. How long did it take you coaches to get enough regular clients to do VO only as a career?
That's a great question. Once I got to about 5 or 6, I was in radio at the time. And once I had 5 or 6 regular clients that I knew I could depend on. Now, granted, they could all go away tomorrow. I get that. But it was a confidence thing where I knew, and I was not very happy in radio. But I knew if I had 6 regular clients that it was going to be good enough for me to go, because I always knew I was a good in marketing. I did the sales side of advertising as well. So that was it for me. What about you, Garnet?
Well, I don't do voiceover just by itself full time. I still work as a producer for a company called Chorus Entertainment and voice a lot of stuff for many of their radio stations. I also, as some of our students know, work as a college professor. So
Yes.
I have a bunch of different things going on, but I can attest to everything that you guys are saying, that when I first started out, I just had one agent in Toronto, and that was it. If I was getting auditions or booking work, it was only through that one agent. And then I applied to some other agencies, but a lot of rosters already had people on them that sounded like me. So I got a lot of rejection letters saying, we don't really need you right now, but thanks anyway.
Yeah,
so
but how many of them had your vinyl collection?
Well, that's true. But I started doing the direct marketing and building relationships instead of just sitting back and waiting for auditions to come to me. So that definitely was beneficial, because I was, like I said, just waiting for auditions to come from my agent. And it's either feast or famine doing that, even if you have multiple agencies sending you stuff. So direct marketing is key. And yeah, I put in the time, as Trish said, you have to do, but it was worth it to definitely get me into a happier place, because I was like really anxious waiting for auditions to come to me. So that's you put the work in, and you will find your booking average increases greatly as time goes on. But enough about me.
Great point too. Nobody's going to hear through the grapevine that you have the golden voice of whoever, and they're not on your door with a big basket of money. You have to go after the clients and get them, and they are out there.
Yeah, it used to be the case where you could just like have an agent or two different sides of the country and book East Coast, West Coast, and that would be enough to have a career. But it doesn't work like that anymore. So the direct marketing is definitely key, and I'm sure Rob must have done something similar to eventually go full time.
Yeah, it was this. It's the same thing. I started with Casting Call Club. I went that route. I went Upwork and was on voices.com for a year, auditioning like a fiend. I went through enough training and saw enough workshops and read enough books that everybody was saying, it's like, no, all you're doing is spending your time auditioning. You're not spending any time on yourself to advance your business. And so I started doing direct marketing and reaching out to businesses. And yeah, once I said goodbye to voices.com, I spent much more time reaching out to businesses. And you have to be, I tell this to my students, you have to be consistent and persistent with your messaging. You can't just go, okay, I'm going to do 50 today and not do any tomorrow or the next day or the next day. You've got to be consistent throughout your work day, that I'm going to do 5 today, I'm going to do 5 tomorrow, and keep reaching out. And eventually it's a numbers game. The more you do it, the more opportunities you have to connect with businesses that need your voice.
And here's a quick tip on that to piggyback on what Rob is saying. When you reach out to people, make it about them. If you're doing a call or an email, it's so easy for us to get caught up in our own bullshit where we're talking about our voices, and then we write this big long email all about us. Bring up some fun anecdote about the client's business, maybe that you learned about in either one of their commercials or on their website, because clients love to talk about their stories, and we should allow them to speak and just listen. Make it more about them. Even if they don't hire you right away, this is how you build up professional rapport.
Right.
They will come to you and eventually hire you for your voice.
Nobody wants to work with a stranger. So if you can become friends, at least through social media, you're interacting with them, you're sharing their YouTube stuff, you're interacting on Facebook, you're liking stuff on Instagram, you're retweeting stuff. If you're engaged with that client, that potential client, the lead, if you're engaged with them, that person's going to see, oh yeah, there's Trish again, and then maybe you send him a message, say, hey, I really loved what you did with that last spot, and don't even ask ask for the job. Just say, I love what you guys did. Keep up the great work. And then in your signature line, it says Trish Bassani, voiceover artist. And they go, let me click on that link and see what she does. And suddenly that's how you establish a new client. You know, that's how it works. You just got to do it a million freaking times.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where people kind of lose. They drop off because it's a lot of work that you feel like you're not getting back, you know, but when the scales do tip.
1 second here. Garnett, it's your turn. Will you grab that?
What is that?
Is
that an old Game Boy
the old
kind of thing?
football.
Yep, Coleco.
Oh my gosh.
Boy. Trish.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pre-Game Boy.
I knew I should have passed.
Well, no, I knew it wasn't a Game Boy. I've never seen a handheld like that. I had Atari.
Coleco and Mattel,
like
right? They put those together.
Yep.
Tell electronic football. Yeah, that was
but I was never into the handheld games anyway. So even when Game Boy was like a thing, was I young? No, I wasn't young enough for Game Boy, but I still wasn't really a thing.
I played the hell out of that one. But yeah, that was before Atari. And then once Atari hit, it was like, oh, well, it's on. You know, it's all over.
Oh, it was before Atari? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. No, I don't remember seeing those, but anyway, so
it's the Pong era.
I remember playing in
Tempest.
What's that?
The last video game I remember playing at all would be Tempest at an
Oh God.
When
was the last time anybody went into an arcade?
Oh, I used to love them as a kid. They were right next to the movie theater that we all snuck into because it was like I couldn't pay that $1 on Tuesday.
I went a couple of years ago. There's a place by me that has it, and I wanted playing Centipede and Frogger. Those are like my two favorites. Yeah.
There's a retro pinball place here in Austin that does regular video games and stuff too, but they have a lot of like classic old pinball machines and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And they serve beer, so that's cool.
It's coming back, man. Vinyl just went through the roof during the pandemic year and hasn't slowed down. So I'm hoping
I only accounted for half of those purchases.
I know every time I see Garnett post one of his albums, and I need to try to top him. And I got their first one.
I swear, man, I started with vinyl when I was a kid, and then when CDs came, I just dumped everything I had into CDs and then MP3s, and now I don't have anything. You know, now I just spend $10 a month to listen to every song that I want. You know,
Rich has more cassettes than we do, and that would be one.
Yeah.
I have a whole box of them. I seriously do. And I have a converter that my parents bought me, and I asked for this thing for Christmas, just as like it's like a $40, $30 or $40 thing where you like pop the cassette in and it turns it into an MP3. And I never even I haven't done it yet. It's like one of those things on my list that I'm like, oh, and I was so excited when I found out that there was a way of taking cassettes and getting the audio into the computer, and I just still haven't done it. But
it's funny.
What's funny about Garnett's album collection is he goes to all the concerts too, and they're always still touring. Like, didn't you just go to like a Duran Duran concert recently?
Duran Duran a few weeks or a few months ago, but I just went on a huge binge because no concerts because of COVID, so I've been overcompensating for that and just seeing like everybody.
Did you see them perform at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, incredible.
Unbelievable.
I worked with them when they did the ACL festival not this past summer, but the summer before. They were the headliner for the ACL Fest, and I was 2 feet next to Simon Le Bon most of the evening. It was a pretty amazing show. They really put on a good show.
I do have a question from Emily, and I don't know if you guys do you want to start to wind things down, or you guys get how long?
One more question.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool until 12:30.
Okay, another 10 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah.
So Emily says, I'd love advice on using LinkedIn to get clients. Is a lot of what you just said, liking others' content and hoping they check you out. And you guys probably have, I do get clients from LinkedIn. I know Terry talks about it a lot. My immediate answer, because I have the paid version of LinkedIn where I have 15 per month 15 in what's called in-mails, meaning you can message someone that you're not connected to. But if you don't need to upgrade. I don't know. I don't know if Terry, you have the free version or not, but
I don't have the paid version.
I have
wow.
free too.
Okay. Okay. So, but if you don't want to pay, because I think that the lowest is the one that I have, it's like $60 a month. It's still not cheap. But the only thing I would say with that is if you don't want to upgrade, and obviously you don't need to if you guys are using it that way, then you have to connect with the person first and then you message them. So you have to send them a connection request. I think you can send a little note with it now. It's like, hey, like, maybe you want to send a note. The thing is you're not technically supposed to connect on LinkedIn with people you don't know, because they specifically say, do you know so and so? If so that's the only thing, and that's how they kind of get you to upgrade too. But I do like the paid version. It certainly pays for itself, but you can do it for free. So Emily, that's what I would suggest. Terry, do you have any extra thoughts on that, or you guys?
I've gotten clients just by simple engagement. Like I'll
Yeah.
see somebody from an ad agency or, some type of creative director do a really cool post. Hey, our commercial's coming out today, or it could be something like that. And then I'll just start engaging in the comment thread. And like kind of what I said earlier, I make it about the client. I'm like, oh, I really like that cool thing. 13 seconds in the commercial where the blah, blah, blah happens. And then, it's really about building rapport that way. And, it's easy to think that just like doing a post on LinkedIn, hey, here's a link to my demos. Anybody out there looking for a voiceover? And we've all done that. It's just that you don't know any better, but it's best to just be a guest at the party in the beginning.
Hi,
Yeah.
Chris.
I agree. Exactly what Terry said is in interacting with people. When I use LinkedIn, I'm looking specifically for certain people, like a program director or a creative director is who I'm looking for a production company. And when I find somebody, I'm looking at like, what is it, the second or whoever is like a friend of a friend who knows this person, and I'll make a connection request. And I'm not saying, hey, I'm a voiceover artist, hire me. I'm just saying, actually, I'm saying I am a voiceover artist, but I'm not saying it in that way. I'm Rob Marley, voiceover artist from Austin, Texas. Would love to just add you to my network if that's okay. And that's all I say. And if they say no, or if they ignore me, then fine. And if they say yes, then cool. Hey, thanks for connecting. If I can do anything for you. And then hopefully you're getting them to click on your LinkedIn profile, which then is like a live resume. If you have your LinkedIn profile set up correctly, that it shows off that, not that you worked at Dairy Queen in the summer last year, but that this is a job that you worked for. This is a voiceover artist. This is what you've done. You set up your page to be profile ready. And yeah, that's how you make connections. I've landed several jobs that way, just with making a friend connection. On LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is one of the few social media platforms that has really stayed true to its form as being business-oriented social media platform. And then we, Twitter is what it is. And then Facebook has evolved, sometimes not in a more positive manner, but LinkedIn has kind of relatively stuck around as a really good businessing or business networking platform. And by the way, can anybody guess my age?
90.
I think we're supposed to judge from the t-shirt. I saw them. They opened up for Def Leppard a while back. It was Styx, REO Speedwagon, and Def Leppard.
I saw Styx and REO at the Minnesota State Fair in August, and they were great.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen from arena rock to the state fair.
I like watching in smaller venues.
Keyboardist and the singer that took over for Dennis DeYoung. Isn't he a Canadian?
Larry Gowan. I'm actually going to see him in concert solo next month.
He is amazing talent. In fact, he's been with the band now longer than Dennis DeYoung was ever with the band.
Wow.
Like 23 years or something like that.
Amazing voice, great keyboardist. Really, and I love Tommy Shaw. He's that was just an amazing show. So This is the holiday episode of Voiceover Sermons where, yes, we do occasionally talk about something other than voiceovers. Why don't we kind of slowly start to wrap it up here, since I feel like we've been on for 2 straight days.
We want to shout out to Rob Scheimer, Betsy Berry. Hi, Betsy. I just worked with her earlier on the new and improved marketing session that I do. So
Cool.
now it's
Just going to mention that because you came up with the brilliant idea to have your students watch the video first, and
Yeah.
then you meet with them afterwards to do not only a little bit of Q&A, but to kind of piggyback on certain content that you covered in the video. And I thought that was just a great, like, double-edged sword, or whatever analogy I'm trying to find in my head.
yeah, because
Brilliant.
I was giving I was giving the same information during the marketing session to everybody. So it was like, well, if the information is the same, the lesson is the same, I wasn't really getting to delve into, because by the time, like, it takes me an hour and a half to give all of that information, right? To explain the whole process in the way that I like to, and that I feel the way that I feel has been, that I've been thorough with it. So I just recorded it, put it on a video, and then have people watch it. And then now when they work with me for the actual one-on-one marketing session, the one that's live, they've already watched the video, they have questions from it, but I also get to kind of delve in a little bit more, see where they're at in the program, answer any questions that they might have on what to do next, or if they're waiting for scripts to come back or their website. And I'm able to kind of like delve into the details of their goals, and kind of like we talk about logos, we've talked about all kinds of stuff during that session now. So now that I'm starting to do those, I really enjoy them, and I get to really kind of just be able to help people in their path a little bit more in where to steer next. Because that's, once they get to me in that session, it's a lot of times they're kind of like done with their script analysis. So they're kind of like at the point where they're like standing, I always feel like it's kind of like an analogy of like standing at the edge of a cliff. It's like you have the whole path behind you, everything's done, and you just kind of like, you're not quite sure where to go. So of course they have their demos and stuff on the horizon, but there's a few kind of things. So, sending them the links that they need to get their website done, to get their scripts done, like all of, so it's been a really cool experience to be able to like really delve in, instead of me during that session kind of a little anxious about being able to just give it all to someone, and really not be able to spend a lot of kind of like one-on-one personable time to like really figure out where they want to go with it.
You guys want to see my very first demo real quick?
No,
Of course.
That's too new.
That's awesome. I came across
Classic.
one of my postcards recently, like my old one before I had my dish logo. I should have kept it, but I don't know if I mean, I know that I kept it. I can't remember where it is. I'm not going to look for it, but I'll have to share it, and maybe in a post or something. It'll be funny.
Sure, yeah, finding your old demos. Mine was like 5 minutes long.
It's a very humbling experience.
It
It
is.
is. It really
To
was. It was
listen
all
to your old
commercials
edition.
on side A, all narrations on side B, terrible reads. Every read sounded exactly the same. Every read sounded like I was broadcasting an urgent weather bulletin on the radio. Coming from about whatever it was, about 6 years behind the mic at radio stations. Oh yeah, I really had that hard broadcasting announcer.
Hey, it's 79 degrees and sunny.
It took me a long time to kind of curb that, and it still comes out just like the Minnesota accent. Well, we struggle out here with the O's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, we're gonna go to the Gopher game,
Oh yeah.
but just like Garnett struggles with a boot instead of about.
That is such a myth.
I know. Well, you don't.
It's
but
not a myth. It's true. It's, you just don't do it.
we all have our. I mean, I still have the, hey, you want to jump on the boat?
Boat. Yeah,
But if I'm
boat.
reading a script, I can curb it because I'm well aware that might happen in the
And the
performance.
A's are funny where you are too, Terry. I keep hearing bag instead of a bag. Yeah, bag.
Big.
And
It's like
people in New
bag.
Jersey,
Big.
people in New Jersey call gluten.
Gluten.
Gluten. I actually, so my first national commercial that I ever did, it was for Garmin, and we're talking 2007, 2006, somewhere around there. And I they were like, you're saying it funny. And I kept saying gluten. I was saying gluten because I was from New Jersey, and that's what you do in the Northeast. We say Manhattan,
Right.
right? So they were like, but they weren't from New Jersey, the clients. They were from the Midwest. I was actually technically in Texas at the time of the recording, but I just moved there. So I think the clients were in like Missouri. Garmin was in Missouri, and they were directing me over the phone. And I'm like, I was like, well, I don't know how else. They were like, yeah, can you say it different? I'm like, well, you have to tell me how to say it because I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And they were like, we need gluten, not gluten. And I was like, oh. And that was like one of the first times where I was really I was very aware of my New Jersey accent, because I have a very neutral accent from New Jersey compared to other like Eastern Jersey accents where you sound like closer to the city. I can do it. It's walking the dog, kind of like sound, right? I can do it, but it's not where I'm from. Like if you go further because I'm closer to Pennsylvania, and I'm not in the city, I'm in the rural area. So that sound, that kind of harsher, Jersey accent is not really there as much. But anyway.
And Rob, you've always avoided the Southern drawl. Now trying to avoid that. Not everybody in Texas has the Southern drawl. In fact, people in Dallas come from all over the world. So you hear all kinds of different dialects, but you never really had much of a drawl.
Well, that's because I'm not originally from Texas.
Where are you originally from?
Originally, I'm from LA. I moved to Texas.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I lived 5 minutes from Venice Beach most of my life, and then moved to Texas, moved to Austin, and Austin really doesn't have an accent because the University of Texas is here, so it's a college town, so a lot of people come in. Every now and then you'll find I call them good old boys. You'll find a native Texan. And they kind of come through, but most of the time it's pretty straightforward, just regular American. Like you see in Austin somebody walking around in a cowboy hat and they still stand out. It's weird. But
have you ever eaten at the Big Texan in Amarillo?
I have eaten at the Big Texan. Absolutely. They got that 72-ounce steak.
Oh yeah. That's we're at one of those hotels right next to it. Usually when we're on the way to like Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah.
Days we do a little 2-day stop in Amarillo, and I always hit that steak out.
Yeah, it's a 72-ounce steak, baked potato, 4 fried shrimp, and green beans. And if you can eat the whole thing in an hour, you get it for free.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny. They put you on a table and they have a clock behind you, and it's like, and a friend of mine did it.
You got people from all over the world there in one spot, like in this big giant like cafeteria setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Serious.
A friend of mine did it and won it, and he says, yeah, it's fun, but then 10 minutes in, you're just eating cold steak. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's a good point. It gets cold fast and there's no reheating. But yeah, big 72-ounce steak. Ugh.
I think on that note, we'll wrap
it up. Nice Christmassy thought.
Yeah, saying hello to Marty Schaefer and Brenda Roberts. They've checked in since I shouted out last. So, and Rob Scheimer too. So
recording the full 90-minute award-winning episode of Voice. This
was fun though.
Right after we
hit. It was fun.
Right, Trish, does it automatically post to Voiceover Camp when we're done?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll be available in the feed. Also, for those of you that were wondering or have yet to or have been joining me for VO Happy Hour, I do plan on doing it on Friday. I don't really, like I said, for that hour and a half, I'm not working, but I may even have like a like an actual, like, I don't know, I may have like it out in my kitchen or something instead of just kind of make it a little more casual, but while I'm doing things, but I do plan on doing it. So if you guys want to join, vohappyhour.com.
I'll
Those
be
of you that are
mainlining eggnog.
listening,
Just jacking
nice.
the eggnog right in.
I love eggnog, man. Do you ever make it from scratch, Rob? It's
Yeah,
so
I have.
good.
I have. I
Yeah.
have a friend that makes it like she makes it all foamy and really
Oh
boozy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It always amazes me how much alcohol can stay in suspension with eggnog, but I just like it plain. I like the store-bought, just get it off the shelf eggnog. That's to me, that's
By the way,
that's
since
Christmas.
we're wrapping it up here, and to end on kind of a sentimental, sad note,
Oh God.
to Karen Sauer.
Yes.
We lost one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Very, very helpful, talented young lady, and we've all we've known the Trish and I met Bob Sauer back in 2008, probably at Voice, and
Yeah.
yeah, my heart breaks for the family, and especially this time of the year.
Mm.
She'll be missed big time, big
Mhm.
loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, happy holidays to you guys. We'll be in touch throughout this kind of crazy 2-week holiday Bermuda Triangle or whatever you want to call it. So, all right, this was fun, you guys. Imagine that, a 90-minute episode of voiceover sermons full of, well, mostly useless
Chock
information.
full of
A
fun.
couple of nuggets here and there. But no, this is fun. We should all get together and do these maybe a little bit more often.
I'm just
Yeah.
surprised that you got
Thank
5 of us together and we kept it to 90
I
minutes.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Happy holidays, everybody. And if you're just coming in at the tail end of this, our apologies, but the entire video will post to Voiceover Camp. And then the audio of this will post to Voiceover Sermons probably later today, which you can go to voiceoversermons.com and hear over 100 episodes, some with the UVT team, some with just me flapping my jaws. Rob and I have been on some, Trish and I have been on some, Garnett and I have been on some, the whole team has been on plenty of them. A lot of really good information about the voiceover business, especially if you're brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And the guides section within Voiceover Camp that has all my Q&As and starter
Oh, that's great.
information. Definitely like soak it up and let's do 2023 together. You guys want to, jump on board and we'll get you there.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, happy holidays.
Merry
Peace.
Christmas.
Merry
Right.
Christmas.
Bye
Happy New
guys.
Year.
Merry
Happy New Year.
Christmas.
Bye, everybody.